If you're ready to take a look at the Ads Manager basic functions for creating an ad, let's do that now. Step 1, you click Create an Ad. Step 2, if you want to make a ad to website, you click Add Website. If you want to do page post engagement, you do page post engagement. You pick a page, and then you type the post you want to promote. If you want to do website conversions, you pick a URL you want to do, and then you have to pick a conversion pixel that you've already made active in a previous step. If you have more than one, you can pick more than one. If you want to do app installs, you have to pick the app and then put in the details for the app. The same thing goes for app engagement. App engagement's great if you already have people using your app and you want to get them back to it. Event responses are a very powerful ad that you can use if you want to get people to an event. So say I want to pack people at this event, I click event responses and the event itself will be promoted. If you pick the wrong type, you can't go back and repick it again very easily. So Ads Manager, back to create an ad. You can also make offer claims. If you have an offer, you can pick an offer to promote. If you haven't made one yet, then you have to go and create a new offer here, and then you can put this post on the page and promote it all at once. So these are the basic details of how you use the Ads Manager to pick a type of ad you want to create. Now I'll quickly go through and show you the rest of the features that pop up. Images. You can put up to 6 images per ad unit. You can upload them, use images you already have. You can also reposition images to show in the newsfeed or in the right column based on what position they're in. The headline for your ad is shown differently on the right column versus the newsfeed. So if I put Bandwork headline here, you can see it's not shown on the newsfeed, but on the right column it shows up underneath the page title. The text shows up here on the right column, and on the newsfeed the text is featured here. If you check sponsored stories, it'll make an automatic post to show to people's friends. You can choose a landing view. If you're using a squeeze page, the landing view is critical. You have to put in your squeeze page. You can also place the ads in the newsfeed and or the right column specifically right here. The audience section allows you to choose countries. You can put multiple countries, and you can target by state, province, city, or zip code. You can choose ages. You can choose genders, and you can choose languages. I generally put English on my languages consistently regardless of where I'm targeting. You can also choose other demographics such as relationship status, education level, school year, workplaces, or more. You can then use the more specific interests such as business and industry, or much more specific interests such as, well, I guess you can't type your own page name in. You can type in very specific pages in. Say, I'll do George Takei. You can type his page in, and then you can target people both interested in business and George Takei. If I just take George Takei off, there's 5 million people in the US. Connections, you can target people not connected to your page already, or you can target people that are connected and aren't connected, or you can do more advanced options. You can choose categories on top of your interests, and then here's your campaign name, your daily budget. You can either run it continuously or set a start and an end date, and then your bid options are down here. You can bid for page likes, clicks, or impressions. When you're ready to grab images for your Facebook ads campaign, I'm going to show you how to do it quick and to get the best quality images without having to worry about any copyright problems. Here's how you do it. I use photospin.com. So you want to see the URL, I suppose. Let me pull the camera up here. Photospin.com. Photospin has royalty-free stock photos, illustrations, and more. I got myself a yearly plan on Photospin, so I get all of my stock photos from Photospin for my ad campaigns. You can obviously use any other stock photo website you want, or you can use Google Images or your own images you have designed. I would use images you've designed or stock photos, though. I would not use Google Images or never any images from another Facebook page. The reason is you can get your page banned. You can get banned from the ads manager. There are just bad consequences when you potentially use copyrighted images. Google Images, you want to avoid that. I see lots of advertisers doing it. You want to avoid it. Assuming now you want to use stock photos, Photospin, I'll show you how to do it. Say I want a thank you photo to advertise. I scroll down, I look for thank you photos, find one I like. Here's one I like. I click on it. I grab the photo with download. Once I've downloaded that photo, I go back to advertise on Facebook, and then I hit upload image. Now, my images aren't in there, but I've picked my image file, and if I had downloaded that, it would be with my images. Instead, I have other photos I've used on previous ad campaigns. For example, I'll put this basketball up here. And now this basketball will load in to my images in my ad campaigns. When I scroll down and look at my ads, you can see the basketballs popped up here in the news feed as a potential ad. And then in the right column, it looks like this. Now, would I really want to use this image? Probably not. You can still crop an image like this to make it come out a little better. For example, it's still going to look the same in the right column, but in the news feed, you might prefer that if it was a basketball-related page. I can try another image that might make more sense for my exact business. You can see I've used all of these images on my previous ad campaigns before. So this is a small image, so it pops up like this in the news feed. I can reposition it in the news feed. Actually, I can't reposition this one because it's not big enough. So I'm stuck with it looking like this in the news feed. Say none of these images are very good. Now I want to pick another image. I'll pick these images because I like them. I'll upload these images. And now I remove those other images I had before. I can reposition my images here, and now I've got images, say, I like better. You can do this with up to 6 images at a time, and the key way to get more images than 6 is if you scroll down and place order, it will bring up a window saying create similar. You want to hit create similar because it'll still make the ads in the same campaign. And then you can move back up here, X out your images, browse library. I can find ad images I've used on previous campaigns even. Pick out a few of those ad images. And now I have a whole new set of images that I can use on the same campaign. I can reposition the images however I want them to look in the news feed. And then I can make a new ad campaign, or I can place order again and the ads will go in the same ad campaign as previously. Now you can see how to use images quickly in the Ads Manager. When you've got your images all ready to go, now the next line of work is to get the headline and the text up. You can see the text pops up right here on the newsfeed ads, and the text pops up here on the right-hand column ads. The headline on the right-hand column, you can see, turns out below your page name. On the news feed, if your picture is big enough, your headline actually doesn't display at all. So the key feature in the latest version of Facebook ads is the headline for right-hand column ads, and it's the text for newsfeed ads. For the text, you want to make sure to communicate whatever value you're offering, and it needs to be focused specifically on your action objective. So for me, if I'm making an ad for page likes, which I've created one now, I want to ask people to like my page one way or another. I've seen so many Facebook ads, I don't like the cheesy approach of like if you're happy or whatnot. I prefer to do something such as like to learn about Facebook advertising. It's a question and the word like is in there, so it's a bit more subconscious than direct. For the news feed, this is all I need in the news feed is this text, like to learn about Facebook advertising. And you can see I just put some quick stock photos in here that have done well on past campaigns. For the right column, however, I want a title. So I want something also similar that matches with my objective. There. When I ask a simple question, have a Facebook page, the idea is whoever I'm showing the audience to, I want to catch their attention if they're looking on the right-hand column and they have a Facebook page. This way, they see right here clearly the value I'm delivering, and I should get them to like my page fairly easily by going with this approach. You can mix it up and put different ad titles in. All you have to do is, once you've done everything else that we're going to cover, place order. When the pop-up appears saying create similar ad, you go back up to the top and you can change your headline or your text while keeping your same images. And when you go back down and hit place order again, it will place 6 more different ads with your new text in it. So it's easy to make ad variations, and it's important to make ad variations on the text because you don't know exactly what will work. For example, I could make a headline that says Facebook page owner or Facebook page admin instead. And I could add on more to this, say, get free access to my online course, for example. Now I could try that separately. If you repeat this process with the headline and the text, you should find a combination that works great for you. When you want to try interest targeting, learning the interest targeting interface is a little tricky. What you can use interest targeting for is to match the audience you want to reach using the pages they've liked and their interests and activities they've expressed. Here's how it works. If you click, you get basic categories. For example, if you want to brute force shotgun all of the business and industry people with your page, in the US alone you can target 132 million people. If you want to get a little more specific than that, you can do something like digital marketing. Type that in, and now you see you have 1.5 million people in the United States that have expressed interest in digital marketing. When you type one category in, Facebook will say, hey, maybe you want these similar categories. You can click online advertising, and now your audience has nearly doubled. Try inbound marketing, and it only adds 200,000 people. More than likely, that's because inbound marketing already largely includes audiences that you've already picked. These are all or targeting. This means inbound marketing or digital marketing or online advertising. You can continue the same trend and find even more niche terms. But you'll find once you've picked a bunch of various pages, you won't get any extra people. And if you pick a page that is popular in a country where you haven't targeted, such as this Indonesia page, it's not going to add to your potential audience. So you want to get good creative targeting here, but you don't want to spend too much time, because you may often be targeting or spending a lot of extra time only incrementally improving your audience. If you want to, say, do something a little out of the box, you could target a very specific page that you know of, such as a specific actor's page. I beat George Takei to death in my targeting. You can see he's got a huge U.S. audience, 5.2 million people. You can target just his Facebook page, although I wouldn't recommend it because everyone else has thought of that already. The key is with interest targeting is to find interests that other people haven't thought to target, or show ads on a creative way of doing it. Often, say if you're in a women's fashion niche, if you directly target the women's fashion niche pages with active fans, you can get a lot better results than, say, doing something like targeting a shopping and fashion category. However, if you want cheaper clicks, you're often better doing a broad category. You can see there's 126 million people in the US, which is fairly broad. The thing is, you're catching a lot of people in that audience, though. If you try and target more detailed and limited, such as maybe Fashion Week, while the audience is a lot smaller, you may actually be running into a lot more competition on this term. Now, if Fashion Week's exactly what you do, this can be a good thing. If you're just trying to reach a certain group of people, targeting more narrow in a high competitive term can cost you a lot of money. This is a brief overview of the interest categories. You can also use more categories to target a few extra categories Facebook has set up specifically, such as traveling, photography, job status, etc. You can use any of these, and I recommend using interest targeting only one interest per campaign, or one group of interests depending on your audience size. Interests are a huge factor in competition, so I recommend only doing one group per campaign. If you want to get the absolute most likes for your page, you want to target countries where you will get the most likes for every dollar you spend. The simple principle for this is you want to advertise in countries where people are interested in your topics and where the ad costs are cheap. I'm going to give you a list of these countries to show you what you can do on even a very small budget. And then I'm going to go back to adding them in and showing you how to do that. So I'm going to my page first. I'm going to show you my insights. I'll show you the people on my page. And you can see I have just a ton of fans from these top 10 countries. So I'm going to put these in the Ads Manager. We're just going to take United States out for now. And this is just to get likes on your page. If you want to get a lot of likes on your page, use these countries: Pakistan, Indonesia, Egypt. You have Algeria, Tunisia. And this is how you type them in. You just put them all in here together. And these countries also, I'm targeting just on English. So you can see when I put that in, I just wiped half the potential audience out. But it's great because a lot of people that are on Facebook in these countries speak English. So if your ads are English, your page is English, then you are going to do well advertising in these countries based on the amount of money you spend versus the amount of page likes you get. There. You can see that's 176 million people that speak English. Algeria, Bangladesh, Egypt, India, Indonesia, Morocco, Nepal, Pakistan, the Philippines, and Tunisia. If I want to scroll down farther, I can see more countries where I'm big in. And you can see I've got 1,600 fans from the US, which is pretty cool because I've hardly done any page-like ads in the US. I'm not big on paying top dollar for my likes. I'd rather have 700,000 likes than a few thousand more from the US, because 700,000 looks really impressive. I mean, who do you know that has a Facebook page this big? And that way I get lots of foreign clients also. I grab a client in a country where there's no competition at all for what I'm helping with. If you just want to promote, say, an artist page or just have the biggest page possible, using these countries along with a few more that I show you in the insights here, using those countries will help you get awesome results. You can see there's mostly in Asia, but there's some in Europe, Bosnia, there's some in South America, Venezuela, Romania, and I even have a good bit of fans from the UAE, mostly from Dubai. I've ran some ad campaigns there. And you can see I've got lots more fans from all kinds of countries. When you put these countries into the targeting, you match your age. You might want to go older depending on your product. For example, weight loss products. Let's say you have a weight loss page and you just want the page to look good. You just want to have as many fans as possible on it. This is often a good thing to do just to get your page off the ground, to get 5,000 or 10,000 people on it to get your page established. You have to target 18 plus due to Facebook requirements, but once you've done that, 5.6 million people in countries where the ad costs are rock bottom, you've got them all. They've all told Facebook they speak English and they like weight loss pages already. There you go. If you want to get the most likes, you go ahead and make an ad campaign like that for around $5 a day, bid for page likes, and see what happens. I bet you'll be quite happy with the results. If you want to get leads, AdSense traffic, or affiliate sales, I'm going to show you how to make the ad campaigns to do it. What I've done is get extra results and awesome traffic, especially for AdSense, by compiling an English wealth list, as I call it. These are a list of countries where the ad costs are all different, but the wealth is comparable between them all. This means that people in these countries have comparable spending power. What's cool about it is so many people around the world with Facebook ads only focus on the US and maybe some of these next 4 countries. It's very rare for all of these countries, or even the majority of these countries, to make the list. This means you have the chance, depending on your product, your offer, etc., to grab valuable leads, affiliate traffic, or AdSense revenue using Facebook ads when you put these countries on the targeting. And I'll show you how to do that in the Facebook ads interface. So, assuming you've already set your ad up above for this exact purpose, what you want to do now is insert these countries that I've shared with you right here. So you put in United States, United Kingdom, and United Arab Emirates is good too because that includes Dubai, which is just loaded with wealth. You're not always talking about people that live in these countries either, but you're often focusing on people that are traveling in these countries, because what you do is you pick English as the language, or assuming if you have a different language, you pick a different language, but you pick whatever your language is, so you get people in these countries that have told Facebook they speak your language. So then you can often get people who are traveling. For example, lots of people in the US go to these other countries. You can get them for a lower price while they're traveling abroad, and you might even get them at a much better time where they're more open to trying something new. And here's a gold mine I like, Singapore. Singapore is one of the highest concentrations in the world of ultra wealth. And while every person in Singapore is not carrying around loads of cash, you might get a gatekeeper for someone who has ultra wealth in Singapore for a much lower ad cost than you might see in some of the other countries. If you look at the average wealth, all the ultra wealth in Singapore pulls up the amount of per capita income greatly. And if you're wanting to know how I made this list, I went through Wikipedia and compared the levels of per capita and gross income from several different sources, and then I combined that with the English-speaking populations of those countries. So if you have a different language, your country options may be different, obviously. But if you're doing English, which a lot of Facebook ads are English, you have all of these countries to work with. And I'll spare you the time of putting every single one of them in the ad. You can download the list in the supplementary materials for this section. And here's an interest, or a way to target them based on interest. So digital marketing, you can see you get 2 million people between all of these countries. It's still a small portion of the total, but you're reaching the people in these countries that have a higher percentage of likelihood of being able to afford any products or services you offer, and being a valuable lead on an email list, and providing valuable AdSense clicks if you've monetized a website that way. I've got some absolutely exceptional results for clients using this list. So now I've shared this list with you. You have the opportunity to run with it and see what you can make of it. When you want to get sales out of Facebook ads, the country targeting gets a little bit trickier. It's pretty simple per se if you have a product that only sells in the US. However, if you have a digital product or a product that could sell in a lot more locations, you're probably much better off using the entire wealth list I showed in the Leads and AdSense video. The key is, what do you do if you're a little bit between? For example, if you have a product that only sells in the United States, I'm going to still suggest most of the time you should add Canada. After visiting Canada and doing research on local buying habits, a lot of people told me they would go to great lengths to order things from the US, regardless of whether it was actually shippable in the US. People often had, especially near Toronto, had P.O. boxes or various methods they could use to order products from the US and pick them up either in the US or get them forwarded to Canada. The advantage of this is your competition drops a lot when you move into Canada. You can not only be seen by an entirely new audience, you can often be in front of an audience that has as much or more spending power and less opportunities in the same category you're in. This can also apply to even other countries outside of Canada. It could apply to Mexico or the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand. The more open-minded you think about your product and the more you research your buyers and your best customers, you might just find there's a Canadian ordering through a US address and credit card that's making big orders consistently. Take a look into your data and see if you can add as many countries as possible where you can feasibly sell your product. If you want to get your squeeze page seen by people, and you want your ads to go straight to your squeeze page, this is exactly what you're going to appreciate being shown. I've already done my images and I've done some headlines and text for this specific tutorial at least. The key here to get your page shown is going in the landing view and picking the right name for your squeeze page tab. Note that I picked page likes to begin on this and then selected the landing view. My squeeze page is called Higher, and if I go to that app, you can see this is where people go once they land on my squeeze page. The also key thing you want to do is put your ad placements on either one or both of these. You want them in the newsfeed and or the right column. I recommend doing both because that gives you the most placement options. And you can see the different ad formats either here in the right column or here in the newsfeed. There's one more critical step to this outside of picking the right locations and interests and setting the campaign up correctly. What you need to do after you've done this is go to the Ads Manager, and I'll have to leave page to do this. You have to go to the Facebook Ads Manager and go to the Power Editor. And once you're in the Power Editor, we've improved the Power Editor. It may not completely kill you to use the Power Editor anymore. So now I download my ads into the Power Editor. You have to do this final step or you risk having your ads show up in the mobile news feed. If your ads show up in the mobile news feed, most of the time people will not go to your squeeze page, but Facebook will discreetly send them straight to your timeline. When you see you've got a ton of clicks and hardly any opt-ins, this might be the issue. So I don't have any of these going to squeeze pages, but if I did, I would take this campaign, see all the ads, just whatever campaign you have your squeeze page in, and then you select all of the ads with Control A, and then you go down to this key detail. If I can scroll to it, I'll make it bigger here. The key detail is placement. You want placement and you want desktop. You don't want any of these. You don't want this mobile option or desktop and mobile or all Facebook. You want either desktop, which is right-hand column and newsfeed on desktop only, or you want right-hand column on desktop only, or you want newsfeed desktop only. You can pick from any of those options. I usually do desktop, right-hand column, and newsfeed only. Once you make this change, then you can upload these changes. I'll scroll up here. You hit this green button to upload changes. I originally downloaded the ads with this button, and I'm going to show you more on the Power Editor later. But this key step to get your squeeze page integrated must be done in the Power Editor. If you want to quickly make a lot of ad campaigns and you don't want to have to use the Power Editor, which with the way the Power Editor is inconsistent in its being useful and reliability, this is a very handy skill to have if you need to make many ad campaigns that are similar. For example, I'm using one of my ad campaigns that's successful in picking up a lot of low-cost likes. What I do to make a similar ad campaign, I hit Create Similar Ad out of it. And you can see I already did that once before. I close that page, I hit Create Similar Ad, it populates everything in my last ad, including all of the countries. Imagine typing these in repeatedly. It puts all of my interests back in, and it puts my campaign back in. Now, here's the easy way I copy it. I hit New Campaign. I hit Bandwork Love 3, for example. If I just want a little campaign like I've got already, do $1 a day. I hit Place Order right here. Your order has been placed. You will receive a notification once your ads are reviewed. All you have to do now is hit Create Similar Ad again. Say I want to change the pictures. I can just remove that, browse library, try another picture in there. Or what I really should do is put a bunch of pictures in here. So I'll go to the browse library and just use some recent pictures, load it up with pictures. Now I really would want to reposition these two, but I'm showing you this as quick as possible. I can put them all in the same campaign. If I place order, all of these will go in the same campaign. Now, if I want to try split testing these, I can go Bandwork Love 4 and try a new campaign and say instead of love, maybe I put dogs in as the interest. Now my audience is completely different, which is great for pricing. I go down here and hit Place Order. And there we go. I've got another campaign. That's 2 new campaigns I've already made. And say I want to even try another. Let's do pets this time instead of dogs. A lot bigger audience. I go down and do a new campaign name. Bandwork Love Pets. Place order. There I've got another new campaign. And when you hit continue, then you go straight into the ad campaign you just created. What you want to do is go see all of the ad campaigns you just made. So you can see I just put 3 new campaigns out very quickly right there. And I only had to change a little tiny bit of the details on there. Now you can see I did that very fast. For each campaign though, you'll want to take the time and plan out the targeting options more carefully and precisely, as well as the pictures. For these, I'm not going to actually use these campaigns because I didn't do that. So I'm going to show you how to delete these campaigns. Because when you make fast campaigns like this, you will make some mistakes. Lord knows I've made a lot of mistakes making campaigns, but the more you do anything, the more you make mistakes. All you have to do is know how to clean those mistakes up. So I deleted those campaigns. I go back to the original campaign I created similar ad out of. I go down here. This is unusual for me to have one ad in a campaign, but I wanted to test if this would still get really cheap likes with just one ad in a campaign, and it does. So that's a success. Back to how I did it before. Create similar ad. Now you can see we're back to where we started, and I could repeat the process as many times as I wanted. And every time you do this, you make a new window. So you have to close all those windows you make to get back to your whatever you started with. I hope you find a way using this to make lots of campaigns faster without so much work. People consistently ask me, they say, Jerry, what do you think my daily budget should be? The minimum is $1 a day. And I've seen advertisers spend more than $1,000 a day on individual ad campaigns and as much as $5,000 a day in one ad account on their ads. My thought is usually that smaller ad campaigns get the best results. The smaller ad campaigns force Facebook to zoom in on getting results and not overcompete or just completely waste a daily budget. If you see the ad campaigns I've made recently for myself, you can see I strongly believe in this using a daily budget from between $1 to $10 a day. At the same time, I will run lots of campaigns at a time. There's days I've ran 10, 20 plus campaigns, and those campaigns range from $1 to $10 each. When I built my page with thousands of likes at a time, I was running a lot of anywhere from $1 to $20 a day ad campaigns. The ad campaigns at this level consistently work good to get these low-cost likes you see. What's bad about using larger campaigns is if you set your budget to maybe $1,000 a day, you are looking at a huge potential waste if the ad campaign goes wrong. It's much better to start a budget smaller and work your way up incrementally. I've seen ads for all kinds of different products, apps, pages, advertisers putting their ads in at several $100s a day and watching them just get butchered. I mean, $1, $2, $5, $10 a like. The higher you give Facebook a budget every day, it seems as if Facebook automatically scales up the ad campaigns. So when you put the big numbers in the budget down here, when you put $1,000 a day, it seems like Facebook tries to spend more of that on purpose. And this is clear because whatever you give Facebook, they will find a way to spend every day. Google, on the other hand, is a little more up and down. They don't always blow through your whole budget depending on how you set your ads. But Facebook will do everything it can, if your bid is high enough, to spend all of your budget. And if you're bidding for page likes or impressions or clicks, usually however you bid it, Facebook can figure out a way to spend as much as possible as long as your bid's up high enough. If you're bidding just straight up for page likes, your bid is always going to be high enough. The thing is, you start with smaller campaigns and work your way up after you see exactly what works well and what's successful. So when I grow a page, I usually start $1 to $10 or $20+ a campaign if the page has huge goals like 100,000 likes in a short period of time. Once I see which $20 campaigns are working well, I copy that campaign and make more similar versions of that campaign. This allows me to scale up without competing so much against myself. If you are spending $1,000 a day and targeting a small niche, you're effectively competing against yourself. You're having to outbid your own ad impressions and outbid everyone else to get your ad shown often enough. So stick with lots of smaller ad campaigns and then carefully follow my recommendations for analyzing the results of those campaigns, and you'll give yourself the best opportunity to get a great return on your investment with your Facebook ad campaigns.